What the hell did that mean? Hey, I didn't know, but I was going to find out. All right? First day, I get this phone call. First day from a Mr. Greenberg. And I don't know the guy, but they made it real clear to take the call. Chris, this is Ace. And I want you to know, Bear Stearns was not built by people with MBAs. Bear Stearns was built by people with PhDs. We're glad you're here. Get to work. Click. Whoa. Who is that? Alan Ace Greenberg, Chairman, CEO, Senior Partner, Bear Stearns. What's a PhD? Poor, smart, with a deep desire to become wealthy. I have found the promised land. It wasn't going to get no better than this. Made sense to us. Let's call people that we know have a lot of money. Midland, Texas had more millionaires due to the price of oil than any place else in the country. Made sense to us? Let's call them up. The problem was the boys in San Francisco could not understand what the gentleman in Texas was saying. They were all saying the same thing. I'm in the Earl Bennett. I'm in the Earl business, Bo. Now, my folk from Louisiana, I understand all that. It's called Texas Ebonics. All right? I mean, let me talk to them. None of them had names. They were all AJ, BJ, CJ, DJ. And I hit it off with this one old boy who became not just my biggest account, but the biggest account in the office. And I have to share this with you as honestly as I can. I don't know another way to put it. Every time I get him on the phone, Ken, he would tell me every nigger joke, every Jew joke, every spick joke in the world. And then he'd turn around and say, well, buy me 50,000 shares of whatever you call me about, click. Do the math. 50,000 shares, 50 cents a share commission, that's $25,000. I'm going to laugh at your nigger joke for 25 grand. Hey, man, kid. Hey, I used to laugh like Sammy Davis Jr. I also used to call him a lot. My first year, this is how this thing went with me and him for the first year. And one day he calls me up and says, Chris, I like to know people I do business with. I'm going to come meet you. Hey, I mean, I had blown this cat off a couple of times. My little boy had a soccer game. I had to go out of town to a wedding, and I wasn't feeling too good. But you get to a point where you know, I got to deal with this. I got to handle this. So I said, fine, come on up. My old boss at Bear Stearns ran offices for Bear in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Hong Kong simultaneously. He traveled a lot. He was out of town. And he had this big, beautiful office. I sure did. You know I did. You know I did. Y'all would have done the same thing. I went over there, I took his name tag down, I put mine up. I took the picture of these cute little white kids, I put them in the drawer. I sent a friend of mine out to get the cowboy. He came in, I stuck out my hand, and you can see the blood just drain from his face. He's thinking about all them jokes he told me. Did not help that he was this tall. And getting ready for this meeting, I just kept saying the same thing. Chris, you got to keep the focus on performance, the added value you've created in this portfolio, and the money you made for this guy. And I kept saying over and over and over, it's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's a green thing. And I kept saying it to myself over and over and over to the point that it came out of my mouth in the meeting. And the guy looks at me and says, you know what? You're right. He closed the accounts he had at Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and Solomon Brothers. I did all his business till the day he died, and he stopped telling me them damn nigger jokes. Okay? Hey, man. Okay? Then he started telling me knock-knock jokes. Let me put all this in perspective, if I can. I mean, you guys got other things to do, and you were kind to have me. Wow. This movie, who knew? 300 million people around the world saw The Pursuit of Happyness. February 9th was my birthday. February 10th, Pursuit of Happyness became the #1 film in the world. February 11th, I got a birthday present from Will and Jada Smith. And we've all heard that old thing about the best presents come in small packages. Hey, trust me, the best presents come in Federal Express envelopes. Trust me on that. I haven't even cashed the check. I keep looking at it saying the same thing. Damn. The book, 25 weeks on the New York Times bestsellers list, 9 weeks at #1, translated into 8 languages and made bestsellers list in 5 countries. Who knew? One person knew. And that was Dr. Maya Angelou when she told me, boy, this ain't even about you. This is about every father who ever had to be a mother, every mother who ever had to be a father, and everybody who ever had a dream and wouldn't quit. It ain't even about you. And when Maya Angelou puts something to you like that, there's only one thing you say. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Real clear on that. Real clear. Movie great, books great, business great, but the most important thing I've ever done in my life, and I know I will ever do, is break the cycle of men who are not there for their children. That is the most important thing I've ever done or will ever do in my life. There's no doubt in my mind. Because I broke the cycle here, because I've raised a young man who at 26 years old was finally getting it, the most important thing about being a man is being responsible. And because I've raised a young woman who understands how a man should treat her, respect her, and deal with her, I'm going to have influence on generations of my offspring that I probably will never meet. I'm probably not going to be here to see my great-grandchildren. But because I broke the cycle here, I'm going to have influence on these folks, and this is going to be not just important to me and my family. This will be the most important thing I've ever done for my community, my country, and the world. And the last thing I'm going to say up here is this. After you sell $350 million worth of tickets to a film, you create something called a franchise. There will be a sequel, and I will see y'all at the movies. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me here. God bless you. Thank you so much. IEA, thank you. Thank you so much.